Hello everyone, this is Denise at Something Beautiful Handcrafts, and I finally decided to do a bias sorter about my historical dolls. So originally I wanted to do a tier, and I was trying to think of 3 levels, like to sort them out, and as far as like looks, originality, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? The thing is that I don't really have any of their collections. So I really couldn't find more than like 1 or 2 criteria in order to sort them out. So I remember hearing about the bias sorter from Kyla Collects, and Ali did it too. And so I was like, well, that seems like a really good idea. So if you've never done the bias sorter, basically it's biassorter.com. You go in, you build your list. So I typed in all the names of the historicals, except of course Claudia, which I don't have at the time of this um, recording. And then you press start. And what it does is it generates the sorter, and you get, 2 on the side, and you have to decide whether you like one or the other better. And so it'll keep doing this for a while. What I've discovered is that if you press both, it puts them in as a tie. And I don't think I really want anybody to be ties. So I'm not going to choose. Oh, this is a hard one. I'm not going to choose I like both or no opinion for either one of those. And then it does this multiple times. So it really takes into account, just if you're choosing random. And it should give me a really good idea as to who I'd rather have. And sometimes I get 2 where I don't like either one more than the other, which just happened with Courtney and Julie. I was like, man. Or I like Nellie, I like Ruthie and Rebecca equally. And so it got a little complicated. At some point, I should explain why I like one more than the other. We'll see when we get to the results, then I'll do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish this. And here are my results. Okay, so to be honest, I'm not surprised that Kit came first. I absolutely love Kit. She is just like awesome. As far as a doll, she's kind of blonde hair, blue eye, classic mode, short hair at that, but not really anything special. But as far as a character, I mean, she is a reporter. She's a writer. I've done newspaper staff in middle school and high school, and I still publish for the spinning magazines a lot. And I also was the school photographer for middle and high school, which is so funny because I don't know. At any rate, um, I just I love Kit. I love her treehouse. I love her desk. I love her outfit. She's plucky and zany and resourceful, and I just really like her as a character. I liked her movie too. I love Kit. Okay, next came Nanea, and this was a hard one because Sammy and I are like great friends. I mean, Sammy, you can consider Sammy kind of plain Jane too, but really she's the one who started it all. And she's such a sweet, loving little one, and she's a bit naive, but eventually she stands up for what she knows is right. And with that, just I really like Sammy too. And of course, her collection is out of this world. And I think between her and Kit, they have the biggest ever collections. And I think Kit might even be bigger. According to American Girl Book, I think it has the most pieces. even more than Samantha. And but see, Nanea, I love her story. I love the 1940s. I love the whole World War II history, memorabilia. Nanea is, she goes through this really trying time where she kind of loses her innocence a bit, and it changes her and in unexpected ways. And I like the way she grows up and deals with it. And she's one of the few characters I have actually read the book. And as a doll, I think her mold is absolutely beautiful. I think she's a gorgeous doll. So that I see how that could sandwich her between Kit and Samantha. So I already talked about Samantha, and we have Felicity. And of course, Felicity was the first American Girl doll that I can actually remember seeing. I wanted to teach the Revolutionary War period to my students, and that's how I found American Girl in 2009. And in the movies, Felicity kind of strikes me like Molly. She was kind of a brat, but she had a lot she believed in, and she didn't mind standing up for it, despite the obvious fact that her grandfather had slaves, and that didn't seem to bother her. But we'll talk about it maybe a different day. Otherwise, I love that she was fiercely independent and strong, and she was very um, adventurous. I love that. And as a red hair, green eyed doll, she's really pretty. I love that hair. She's one of the best dolls I have here, I think. Well, one of the best used ones because her hair was like almost perfect. All right, then there's Melody. And of course, I can identify with Melody in the civil rights movement. And Melody sings in church, and so do I. At some point, I want to have some stop motions with her singing. That would be cute. And I just love that flip. I love to do my hair in a flip. And I love Melody. I would not say the Sonali Mole is one of my favorites, but Melody is just such a cute doll. And she has a really nice, courageous story. Then there's Josefina. Josefina is my favorite mold. Josefina is a wonderful, beautiful doll with that silky black hair and those adorable cheeks you just want to pinch. And how she really takes that stand-up role. When her mother passes, she seems like such a sweet, nice, obedient child. And I don't know much more than that of her story, but I do want to read some more about her. And I love her collection. And then, of course, there's Eddie. Eddie is iconic. Eddie is strong. Eddie escaped from slavery. Eddie is constantly learning and challenging herself. She's just such a cool doll. Maybe Eddie should have been higher. Maybe I don't know. Um, I identify with Eddie's story, but I don't really identify with Eddie's story. But it's really an important story. What I realize I don't really identify much with Eddie's collection, and that's probably what colors things too. Maybe one day I'll get into that. And then Cecile's below Eddie, which I'm actually surprised she was even that high, because I am just not a Cecile person. I don't really like her and Mary Grace's collection. And I think somebody got upset when I said that, but I don't like their choice of colors and clothing. I don't really like the way AG styled their clothing. I love 19, oh no, sorry, G19. I love 18 50s fashion. Pretty much I love all Victorian fashion, some more than others, but I just don't like their collections in general. So I've never gravitated toward Cecile, but it's nice to have her in my collection now, and she'll get some more um, for me, tasteful clothing. Then there's Rebecca, who probably should have been higher, but I don't really identify with the whole actress, wanting to be an actress stage type thing, though I did do drama club in middle school and high school, but I really never wanted to be like an actress. It's just kind of something that I did, which was a lot of fun, but it was just I don't know, it's just a thing. So I don't really identify with that performance aspect. Caroline. Caroline is classic mold, but that long hair is really pretty. She's blonde. I've got a lot of blonde dolls, but her hair is a lighter blonde than everyone else's, and those long flowing curls are wonderful, and those turquoise eyes are unique. And I love 1812 and all things basically Regency, which is probably why Josefina is pretty high on my list too. Then there's Ivy, and there's not much to say about Ivy. I haven't read Julie's stuff, and to me, Ivy's not a very well developed character. Not that I can really think of. But I love the Jess mold, and I love Ivy's cute haircut. She is actually a really pretty doll. And yeah, over all the Jess mold dolls, I actually do prefer Ivy over the other ones. And I had 30. 30 was cute too, but I do like Ivy. Then there's Mary Grace, who probably could have been higher. And mostly, Mary Grace is kind of hyped. Her and Cecile are hyped. But that was a unique face mold up until a while ago. And it's still fairly unique because that's only like, what, 2, 3 dolls that have the Mary Grace mold. And they still don't look quite like that Mary Grace. Um, that's all I'm going to say about Mary Grace. Moving on to Ruthie. I feel the same about Ruthie and Julie. Julie's the Josefina mold, so that's one good thing about her. But Ruthie's dark hair, well, the gray eyes are unique, but pretty much she just kind of looks like the rest of them. In the story with Kit, she played a significant role, and that's one of the reasons I felt that I needed a Ruthie, besides the fact that I'm completing the collection. It just seemed wrong to have Kit without Ruthie. And there's Julie. Julie is here because she's a historical. I am not a fan of the 70s. Not at all. And that's the decade I was born in. And I like to try to pretend that the 70s and 80s clothing did not exist. Then we've got Kirsten. And Kirsten is just kind of ho-hum, kind of for me. And actually, pretty much I can say that about everybody on the list down from Kirsten. Courtney, I had a thing against Courtney. And I think it's because I'm of the decade that doesn't feel like the 80s is really history. Though it kind of is, because I'm almost like half a century old. So she's kind of history. As far as a doll, she's another classic mold with curly blonde-ish hair. Nothing spectacular. I kind of wish they had crimped it though, and that would have been cool. The thing about Courtney is, at first I was like, why wanna? I've always hated like 80s people have 80s parties. I can't understand why anybody in their right mind would want to relive the 80s. Like honestly, it's like the worst stuff ever. So you can obviously see I have strong opinions. But when I started looking at her collection, I was like, wait, I remember this from my childhood, and I remember this from my childhood, and I remember this from my childhood, and AG sucked me in with the nostalgia. So there's a high probability that besides Kit and Samantha, Courtney might be the doll I wind up with the most stuff from her collection. That's kind of scary. But I definitely need to have that Walkman and those Care Bears. All she needs is a mini Cabbage Patch. And I did find a Cabbage Patch at the thrift store for her because I felt she needed one. All right, there's Kaya. And it's hard to say something bad about Kaya because of what she represents. But there's nothing really to say bad about her. She's just, because for me, she never really changes out of her clothing. That she's like a collector doll for me. I don't engage with her enough to have any strong feelings about her. Yeah, let's say that. Then there's Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is kind of a Felicity tag along. Felicity to me is just so cool that Elizabeth is just kind of there. Of course, she's a Josefina mold, so I think she's pretty, but in the movie, she just kind of doesn't seem to have much personality either. And that may be because her oppressive sister. And if she spends enough time with Felicity, she'll get a personality. So I don't know, maybe she does later in the books. Then there's Nellie, and Nellie's another one where she's just quiet and doesn't really seem to have a personality. So it's no offense to her as a character, as a doll, but Nellie and Emily and Elizabeth just, they're just kind of there. All right, next is Molly, and Molly is the doll to hate. I of course, I enjoyed her movie. I haven't read any of her books either, but she struck me as a brat. And I mean, Felicity struck me as a brat too, but eventually she had some redeeming qualities besides stealing a horse. Molly, she just kind of struck me as a brat the entire movie. And I felt bad for her missing her father, but I really couldn't get past that brattiness. Like, honestly, I could not. So that's kind of how I feel about Molly. And as a doll, uh, she's kind of geeky. And that's probably one of the things I really like about her, though. She's a geeky doll, and she's so geeky and cute with those adorable geeky glasses on. So she probably should have gone higher. It's just that I think when it came to the actual physical features of the doll, with the regular classic Malone brown hair, that there was nothing in in her that made her go higher than these other dolls who I say I feel the same way about, but they have a few more unique features. So I guess that's how she got to the bottom. Then there's Mary Ellen. I actively don't like Mary Ellen. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. Um, I don't like Mary Ellen. I don't like her as a doll. I'm not really interested much in her story. And I'm not a big fan of her collection. Yeah, that's just kind of how it is. It's very possible I could do this sort of again and change my, like, I'm not really sure how Julie got higher than Molly. Somewhere I must have messed up, and maybe Molly should be up there where Julie is, and Julie should be down here where Mary Ellen is. That would seem to me make more sense, but Mary Ellen is definitely in the space where she should be. I really think that it should be Julie should be number 21, Molly should be number 14, but Mary Ellen definitely gets number 22. And no offense to you all who like Mary Ellen. Uh, hey, we just have different tastes. I feel differently about the different historical decades, and that heavily colors what dolls I like. I feel really strongly about the Josefina mold, and so that really colors what dolls I like. I feel really strongly about certain personalities. I really love Kit's girl boss personality, and Nanea and Felicity's spunkiness, Melody's spunkiness. So that kind of colors it. And also, I feel really strongly about the stuff that AG has in their collections, as far as the color choices they make for the dolls, and the garment choices they make for the historical representations that these dolls have, and that highly colors what I decide um, a doll is more like attractive to me or not. So just kind of how it goes. Yours will probably be different. If you are a YouTuber, make one of these, because I really enjoy watching these and hearing people's different opinions about what attracts them to particular dolls. And if you're not, just go ahead and drop in the comments which dolls are your favorite or your least favorite. And we'll see what we have in common, and hey, what we have in differences and things in common. And that's what makes the world go around. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, click that subscribe button and like and share, and offer some suggestions on some other things that you might want me to talk about. Have a great day.